Hello, I'm FTX Toycat, and welcome back to another Minecraft Update Adventures Let's Play. This is the weekly update as to what's been going on, both in my survival world, as well as life, the universe, and everything in between. And today, I'm going to be making a ship, except probably not the sort of ship you imagine when you see my Minecraft world. Actually, you know, if you know my Minecraft world, you can probably imagine the type of ship. Because I recently mined an entire end city, and I obviously put it into shulker boxes. You know, these lovely purple stairs, pillars, more pillars, more pillars. You know, there's lots of pillars involved in an end city, it seems. But basically, I mined an entire, end city. And so I'm now working on taking all of those destroyed blocks and building this, my delightful end biome, but in Minecraft. And obviously, doing this on the desert, which, by the way, the desert is covered in obsidian. You know, let's not question why. I've always wanted to have myself an end ship in an unexpected place, and I realized, you know, given that I've always hated most ship builds, why don't I solve two problems at once? And so indeed, that's precisely what I'm doing with today's video, because I'm going to be building in this lovely little ocean right here. It might involve killing a lot of drowns first, though. Okay, so here's my plan. Because some of this end ship needs to be built below the water, we scaffold all the way from the surface of the water to the surface of the ocean, and then we remove, like, I don't know, 4 blocks, and we start building from there upwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we start building our pillars. It's actually confusing to build an end ship because the pillars have to be placed this way and not this way, but if we try to place them, it's going to look like this. It's going to be a mess, but I'm sure we can resolve this by... Honestly, we can just use scaffolding to resolve this. So we'll just place a ton of scaffolding over here, and then we'll place it on the side of it, and we can always later remove that, all with one click. Honestly, scaffolding, surprisingly useful in Minecraft. It's one of these super handy tools that you don't realize until you need just how incredible it is to have. And just like that, now we have a very confusing looking pink snake in the water. But again, that's just a basis from which we can then start to build more of the boat on the left side here. Yeah, I'm going to be killing a lot of drowned in the course of this video. And I guess that's fine. I guess it's a good way to pick up some nautilus shells, or some tridents, or whatever else we really want. I'll give you a clue, we don't really want one of those things. But yeah, we're just going to slowly work on the ship until eventually we're out of the water, or at least, you know, at the very surface of the water, just like this. And boom, now our ship is starting to stay upright by itself. Honestly, you know, something that's always bugged me is that ships are such a common build category in Minecraft, and it's like, well, it's kind of unnecessary, isn't it? Like, if there was a way to actually make them transport across the water, it'd be cool, but otherwise it's just kind of building a fantasy, and I say that as I build a ship in Minecraft that is just a direct copy of the game itself. But there's always something that's seemed a bit, like, slightly off about ship builds, and so I've never enjoyed the build of the things themselves, but something about seeing it being made out of purple and seeing it come together, it's kind of nice. It's like I really am building a real ship. Although I guess you could argue this is a real ship in that it really does exist elsewhere in Minecraft. What does the front look like? Okay, now we've got this front bit on, we technically have a ship that would stay afloat were it not filled with water. So wow, now we can suspend the disbelief, everyone. We can stop pretending that the boat is magical, and we can instead believe in buoyancy. Actually, even if it was filled with water, as long as there was just enough oxygen in here somewhere, which of course we can make by, I don't know, we'll just use some wood to prove a point. As long as there's some amount of oxygen, wood, not oxygen, air? I don't know, whatever floats. I don't know buoyancy, okay. But yeah, as long as there's some of that in here, which there now is, we can now officially argue the boat is staying afloat. It's not magic Minecraft nonsense. What a delightful day it is for building. So now that we've done that, let's start working on bringing up a little bit, because right now we have this sad purple boat. Like, you can see where it's going, but right now it really is just the bottom end of something. Also, what is with this glitch where sometimes, like, you can see the water surface being very slightly below blocks? Like, it's one of those bugs that's existed forever in Minecraft, and something I've been questioning more with the Caves and Cliffs update is how many of those bugs are actually, you know, like, meant to be parts of Minecraft, and how many of them are really bugs, you know? It's one of those things that a lot of, like, you know, Bedrock players or Java players find confusing about Bedrock, is like all the bugs that are just inherent in the game. And like I see it sometimes going back the other way, where it's like, yeah, once you've been playing something long enough, it's really hard to discern what is intentional and what is unintentional, but just no one cares about fixing. And I think that's one of those fun little changes in the world of, like, you have no clue sometimes what the difference is. There even a difference sometimes between unintentional feature and something that is unintentional but will never be removed? I guess not, right? I guess because they're both as easily removed. Like you can remove intentional features all the time. And if an unintentional feature is loved widely enough, as in Minecraft it is, think about quasi connectivity and the Redstone community's love for a feature that is entirely just a bug, that was never intended to be in there. If you think about that feature, it gives you a good idea to how I don't want to say crazy people are, because again, if you're I guess fanatical might be the nicer way to put it. Like people are fanatical about things they love, and maybe with good reason. Look at these dolphins. They're fanatical about swimming around and helping people because they're so nice. As long as you're not a porpoise, in which case dolphins are not nice people. They're just adorable, aren't they? But yeah, this Let's Play is also an opportunity, not only for me to do dumb things in Minecraft and for you all to sometimes watch, but also it's an opportunity to talk about what's been going on the last week. I don't have a vlog series, but some people are curious as to what's going on in the Toy Cat life. And given that I'm still living here in the United States, things are different. I think the biggest, honestly, the best change to me is that, now because of the whole vaccination thing, which was surprising, I feel like I can freely travel and mention it without people being like, "You're the reason my grandma's dead." And honestly, okay, this is how you make people hate you even more. This is how you go, "Oh yeah, I have a free pass," and then make it worse. But for the last year, people have been non-stop criticizing me. The worst bit is it's never people that know you that will do it. It's always people who see one tweet or one tiny little thing being like, Toy Cat, actually the thing you're doing is disgusting and real bad. It's funny. It's almost all criticism comes from people who don't know you, right? Like, the criticism from people you care about, kind of like we mentioned this, this ORAF thing recently. Like that's the sort of thing that you actually can internalize. You can take on board. You can actually understand and take something from. Whereas criticism from people who don't know you is almost always just like, oh yeah, here's just a thing. Here's something I want to get off my chest, and I'm going to burden it onto you. And so one of the things I realized about now that you can, be vaccinated and travel freely, especially in the United States, I realized what? I should have just been lying about being vaccinated this whole time. And maybe that's one of those controversial takes. But given that it would have avoided all of these, it gets the same. It's kind of like one of the few lies I'm okay with saying is if someone asked, "Hey, do you have any change?" And the actual answer is, yes, I have change, but my intention is not to give it to you. My intention is to, spend it on buying, whatever you want to get. That is actually a rude thing to say. It shouldn't be. It's just telling the truth, right? But it's not the social, situation you want to go into. So I feel like that's an example of a lie that everyone's okay with telling. If I feel like I need all the lies that the lies I'm okay with saying are the ones that are hey, please stop talking to me now. that should be a category of lie that is allowed, right? And that's kind of what parents do for the most part, right? If you think about parental lies, where instead of saying no, we're not going to do this dumb thing you're asking, it's maybe, you leave the door open, but also you're very clearly saying that we'll see about that one, which is a very coded way to say no. And, again, is it a form of lying? I want to know what you think about that one. Comment section. Do you think it's a form of lying? I would wager sort of. Also, I think we want to have a block over here, probably. Yeah, in this little corner here. Probably makes some sense. Or maybe we should even go a block, further inwards. Over to here. And do that. Yeah, I think that makes some sense. And then we'll kind of build outwards from here. But yeah, so something I realized from the last week is oh, it's cool to be able to see. I did something I've never done before in my life. It's something that's probably remarkably common. I made that comment about. The cool thing about Let's Plays is I feel like I'm talking to long-term subscribers. The terrible thing about Let's Plays, I realize, is you have to mention things in the second half of video, or the type person who is watching the first video is oh, I'm assuming lots of things about you as a person based on that one comment you made. And maybe fairly, maybe in another world they'd be correct. Maybe they'd assume correct things about you. But all I'm saying is I find strangers' interactions to be almost universally uncomfortable. And like trying to apply morality to strangers' actions is like one of those things that people love to do. You know, we sometimes claim that like, oh yeah, we're living in like the most tolerant era ever. You know, we are the best humans we've ever been. We don't have hatred anymore. We used to be such hate-filled monsters, but now, you know, modern me right now, we are just so good at not. And I think what it really is we change our hate targets to people that like are worthy of hatred. You know, like you know, the worst things you can be. All of those isms, right? I think they're all things that, you know, we all agree right now. Like, oh yeah, those are bad. You should try not to be those. In fact, you should very try not to be one of those thingamajiggies. However, you know what we do hate? You know, there's this person who's like, oh yeah, there's no more hate. You know, like there's no one who it's valid to hate except the people who you know, who hate people. People who hate anyone at all. We hate those, and that's okay to hate them because we're hating the haters, which is really, if you think about it, and it's and I've always found the mental gymnastics around so much of this to be like a little confusing. And I think that's why people find these communities filled with people that are like on the same wavelength as them. I've got an addiction to reading. Like I don't know why. I guess this is bad. This is my guilty confession. Is so I did something fun this last week actually. Let's talk about the fun first. I did something really fun. I got in it's called an inner tube, but like just one of those little hoop things that you'd get in a pool. I got inside one of those, and then they throw you in a river, and then like the river's like miles and miles and miles long. Like the problem with every water slide, in my experience, is it's like 20 seconds of enjoyment, and then it's like, you know, a minute of work to climb back up, and then oftentimes there's a line too. So you spend so long just getting this 20-second thrill. I feel like the skiing has the same problem in a lot of resorts. Like I love skiing, but when you go indoor skiing, it's like, here is 20 seconds of fun followed by 5 minutes of not. And so you know, I feel like this inner tubing thing like solve that problem where it's like, you know what, you are swimming down a river whether you like it or not for hours to come now. You want to have a medical emergency? Well, tough. That's not okay. And you know, I think all the time about like this is probably a sign that like I'm a more worried person than most, even though I definitely am not. But I think all the time about like, you know, I guess I'm paranoid about the things that other people aren't paranoid about. And so one of the things I think about is like, you know, driving is just inherent in American culture and getting about, right? But if you have a heart attack while you're driving a car, then, you know, what's going to happen to the car? The answer is you're going super, super fast because highways rule over America, and you're crashing into someone, you know, who, and so vice versa. When you're driving a car, at any point in time, if any of the vehicles around you, someone has a heart attack, which people have heart attacks all the time, especially, you know, maybe in this country, there's a reason why there'd be more heart attacks than normal. And so it's just like, yeah, you might have a heart attack while you're driving, and it might kill you and someone else. You know, but that's fine. That doesn't happen very often. And so, yeah, I know. I think about all the niche situations of like, I'm not going to have a medical emergency, but if I did, how terrible would it be for everyone around me right now? Which again, maybe that's not the way you should be thinking. Maybe you should be thinking about all the good things. But anyway, so I really liked it because I love this concept of just you know, again, maybe this is like a super old thing and this is very, very common in certain parts. But I just love this idea of like, you know, like something going on for a really long time, just as long as it needs to. And rather than being cut out by like, again, the physical constraints of making a slide, it's a river, so it goes on. You know, I was in that river for like 2.5 hours, but it could have gone on for much longer than that. I'm sure if I'd brought my own transport and then yeah, I'm sure you could have just followed the river all the way down. I'm sure that if you really, really want to, I'm not sure if it's safe, you can find a river somewhere in America where you can take a 24-hour, you know, boat ride, or you can take, you know, like get a canoe or a kayak or something, or a 24-hour little ride on a little floaty. And that's just, something about that is nice to me. Something about endless enjoyment. You know, it's interesting, like, someone's told me, and I think it's a good thing to realize in your own life, is that having control is something that is surprisingly important to a lot of humans, to most humans even, I will go as far as to say. Like, being in control of your own destiny is something we tend to value. Why is it something we value? You know what? You tell me, internet. You diagnose the human race for me this time. But we do tend to care about being in control of what's going on. And so one of the things about that, I guess, is like even fun. A lot of fun things rely on like not being in control. But like you can't make not being in control fun unless maybe you actually can. So we'll go 2 out there, and then we get the same kind of thing. This is like building an end city is such a weird thing to try and do this way, but I guess we're doing our best, and that's all anyone can really ask. So 2 blocks, and then 2 blocks. It's still not quite looking like an end city right now, but I'm hoping that changes real soon. And if it doesn't change real soon, then damn, I guess. We'll see. So now we do the same that we've got here on another side. Okay, I checked the thing at the front. Maybe if we can get this on there, it will magically solve all of our problems. We get this little pillar at the front with a... Oh, I guess we're going to have to grab a dragon head for it to be realistic enough. Yeah, surprisingly, you know, that alone does... You can start to see the shape taking form now, right? Am I crazy? I might be crazy. That's fine, though. But yeah, I think being in control of... Jesus. But yeah, this instinct towards, like, I don't know, hatred is something I've also been thinking about. In fact, I thought about it while I was on my fun little tube ride. Also, you know what? I heard a story. I want to mention it just now, just on the off chance it's true. Because every now and then I hear, like, oh yeah, someone, friend of a friend or whatever, learned about what you do. And they're like, oh, that's cool. Wow. And so I learned that one of my friend's ex-husbands apparently watches this chat. So, just in case that's true, hello, ex-husband Steve, hit me up, You sound like a cool guy. I'm just kidding. You know what? Do you sound like a cool guy? You might. I know, you ever hear a story and you're just so instinctively thinking that's not true? And again, this is that interesting thing about the truth, right? Is like, I don't know whether the polite thing is to call out, stories that don't sound very true, or whether you are meant to go, oh, wow, yeah, that's crazy. Because I don't know, I guess. Like, maybe it's just like a part of our, like, fabric that, like, oh, yeah, we're a storytelling, one of the ways we convey information to each other is we tell stories, and those stories don't always need to be true to convey important information, right? Like, that, like my little joke about the vaccination thing, like, oh, yeah, that's a fun little story. It conveys the fact that people have been all up on each other for the most minor things for literally over a year now, and that maybe in the end, it actually is there actually is some element of like personal decision to be made in most things in life, or maybe instead to take the opposite angle. Okay, so I think this is like the very edge of most of the ship, and now we've got to have like a deck that's 1 block below this. I'm assuming it's going to be made of purple. We'll place it and we'll see what happens, I guess. But yeah, so something I made me think about is like, you know what? Should you call out a fake story when it's obviously like that? Because I've heard so many in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and again, something about maybe in America everyone just does have wacky stories and they're all true. Maybe that's the real lesson to be taken from it. Maybe this is just a place where sillier things happen. Maybe some of my stories sound fake. Do you want when you tell a story and someone doesn't believe it? Do you want them to tell you, or do you want them to politely nod along and like not have to deal with that? I genuinely don't know what the solution is sometimes, and maybe maybe the correct thing is just not to even think about it as hard as I clearly have considered this one, right? Like just to be like, it's probably fine. Everyone has that friend who's like famously, there's this show I really like. It's a British show. I think it's a Channel 4 show. It's called The In-Betweeners. I guess I don't like it anymore. I guess I liked it when it existed. Can you like a show like 10 years after it hasn't been aired anymore? Or did you like the show? Like, I guess I liked it past tense, but I haven't watched it. I watched the movie semi-recently, like last 5 years. Can you really like something that doesn't exist anymore? Or do you just like your memories of that thing? Is nostalgia real, or is it something else? I don't know what the answer to that is. I just know that things get confusing sometimes. So I think I need ladders, but I didn't take any ladders with me because obviously, and so I'm just gonna instead guess how tall this mast should be. Should we do it like hilariously tall, or we can go hilariously short? Hilariously tall, or we can just guess. And you know, if it's bad, I'll claim I'm going for hilariously tall or short. So I think there's a little thing at the top here. It's not made from pillar blocks. It's made from the normal ones. Do I only have pillar blocks? I guess we're making it from pillar blocks then. So there's a little mast at the top here. It looks something like this, I want to say. There we go. That is how the mast looks. And there's probably a flag, like a banner pattern up here. That seems about right. You know, that's good enough, I think. I think we did a good job of showing what's happening over there. And now we need to just work on the rear end of this ship. But yeah, chat, this is internet comment section. Tell me what you think with regards to, do you want someone to tell you when they don't believe a story you've told is real? You know, and does that depend on whether your story really is real? I have a thing, right? I only tell as best I can think about like things that really happened. I genuinely don't like stories that are falsified, because if we're telling falsified stories anyway, let me tell you some crazy stuff that happened. I was robbed at gunpoint in this last weekend. There was a man who was like, "Oh, are you famous YouTuber IBX Toycat? If so, give me your wallet." And then what I said, "No, sir, that is a crime, and also this is in breach of Corona Regulation 3320 1.0." And I citizen arrest him until the police came. It was really good, but also my wallet's gone, so give me money. Did you believe that? Did you like that stuff? Oh, did I mention also he was a nuclear terrorist? I bet I didn't mention that. Sorry, my mistake. Did you like my? Also, did I mention that he was a member of a group that you didn't like? Yeah, you know that group. You know those people who hate people, or if you hate people, those people you hate. Yeah, he was one of those, but I stopped him. You're welcome, society. Right? Like I don't know. You know, mundane fake stories bother me because it's like there's enough real mundane stories. Why are we falsifying them? You know, it almost feels like this. I guess honestly, one of the reasons why is because like a lot of painful things have happened in my life, and I feel like one of the cool things you get, like, you know, I try to think about why, and I think it's because, you know, something painful and bad happens, and at least I can argue, well, the cool thing about almost dying from caffeine poisoning, the cool thing about, you know, I actually have been, admittedly, you know, the gun wasn't, I was mugged by someone who had a gun. They thankfully didn't threaten it. They took it very quickly, so I didn't have to process what was happening in the moment. But I've like a deep distrust of all humans as a result of what happened there. But anyway, my point is that yeah, if we're gonna tell stories, let's at least tell fun stories. Oh wait, why stop? Is this meant to be like this, or did I mess up? Oh, I guess it is meant to be like this. Or I've messed up twice, in which case now it's the new reality. Oh, by the way, I totally messed up. There's apparently meant to be a deck over here. I always forget about the deck. Can't believe I'm forgetting about the deck, but I totally am. And then as well as a deck over here, there's also a deck on the entire other side that goes down into here. I'm guessing it's like one block removed from the... You know, should it be one block removed? No, we're gonna use our own logic rather than following the game one on this. And there's gonna be a couple blocks over here that take us down into the basement. Yeah, there's like it's interesting. There's like a cellar where there's a shulker, and then there's also a... Okay, I guess that works. Honestly, that looks way cooler than a normal staircase, so we remove this block. Then there's like a little subfloor over here somewhere, so we'll pick that up. We'll place some blocks over here, and then I don't know. Then a few blocks later, we turn the corner, and what's that? We're going into the basement now. Yes, we are. I think. Does the basement look like this? Honestly, underneath a shulker ship is one of the hardest places to build. Maybe that's intentionally. Maybe it's the area we should spend more time in before realizing that we have more in common with the shulkers than we thought. But yeah, look at this. I've got like a little dark area down here. That's nice. I like that. It's gonna start spawning drowned soon, and then the cycle of life will have finished itself. Yeah, this definitely seems wrong, right? Something has gone horribly wrong with how this ship is designed. What is all this space here meant to be? Have I made a great mistake? Did I? Oh wait, what I bet it is there's probably nope. Wait, yeah, I think the staircase goes like one block. Like I think the staircase instead of being there is like here, so I think I'm like 3 blocks off. Well, now I've learned a valuable lesson that building corner stairs looks prettier. So I'm going to do that instead. And then we'll do the same over here. We'll build one more set of everything. A couple more stairs. Stair block, real block. And then on top of this real block, we'll build some stairs. There we go. I think that's probably a lot more realistic, question mark. Can there be such thing as realistic Minecraft structures? There's a debate we can have, right? But no, so one of the things I was thinking about while I was going down, while I spent a few hours just enjoying myself, getting mildly sunburnt as I went down a river in a tube, which again is a form of relaxation where you're in control of your own destiny while also kind of not being right. Like I guess at any point I could have stopped, but like could I have really stopped? You know, I know that the more control you try to get over your life, the more you realize sometimes how much of an illusion it can be. At least in some areas. Like, I feel like, are you in control of what you do in Minecraft? Yeah, it's kind of nice that way. It's kind of one of the things that makes the game beautiful. But are you in control of what you do when you're floating down in a river? I guess, I mean, like, in the sense that if I had a heart attack, I would stop being in control of myself. Not really, actually. In the sense that, like, if I had gotten out, I would be miles from civilization and food and water. I might have even died. I'm probably being dramatic. I wouldn't have died. I would have, at worst, gone, like, I guess really dehydrated, like, seasickness or whatever. If I'd have drunken the water, I could have been poisoned, you know? It was very gross water. If you know it, it's called cedar water. I don't know, it's apparently very brown from iron deposits or something, which, you know, you'd figure iron deposits would be good for you. You'd figure all you want in life is iron deposits because, you know, that's a thing that all humans are lacking. Which, by, you know, another mild little thing, because I've been hearing crazy people in my life talk about zinc recently. I say crazy people. I know whenever anyone talks about, like, health supplements, I'm like, crazy person. Noted. Like, I don't get me wrong, I bet there are health supplements that work, but, like, any non-doctor that talks about health supplements, because, okay, you know, this is the way I know. Only wealthy people deal with health supplements, right? If they were really, really great, because they're, you know, like, iron is widely available. Vitamin B3, 6, 10, whatever, you know, all the vitamins, they're really widely available if you want them to be, and they can be really cheap. But it's the really expensive versions that are always pushed as the healthy things. And that's how you know, right? Like, if there's, you know, if the only solution to something happens to be super expensive, either it's a very new problem, or it's a very small problem that very few people have, or it's actually a scam and it's a problem someone's creating so they can sell you the solution. That's like my rule for life. You know, maybe it's a wrong rule for life. That's entirely possible, right? I could be mistaken, and I could die from a lack of zinc. But I heard someone be like, oh yeah, we really need to... The amount of zinc and the way it helps you with... I don't know, I think it might have even been COVID. It's like, well, you're an insane person. I know to trust the next words that come out of your mouth a little less. Just like with... Honestly, that's why I think stories are cool. I don't think stories are valuable because you hear them and you're like, oh, wow, that's cool. I think stories are great because they're like, I can disregard lots of other things that you're saying too. That's so handy. Thank you for that. I didn't know whether I had to listen to you or not, but now I realize that I shouldn't have been listening the entire time. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, now the goal is to try and make this back part of the boat happen correctly. And it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll do our best. Oh no, I need that to stay there. Okay, this is fine. I'm very in control of what's going on, even to the degree in which it causes me to fall off the boat. But, yeah, I sometimes, like, I don't know, I hear a lot of crazy things all the time, and I try to be as open-minded as I can be, because a lot of things that sound crazy to someone, you know, have you ever tried to tell someone something, like, that is just a really widely known fact, and they're like, no, you're mistaken on that one. And it's like, I mean, I don't believe that I am. Like, there are some pieces of knowledge that are like, again, it causes people cognitive dissonance just to hear the opposing side to what they believe. And so, like, as a result, I try to be, like, as open on some things as I can. But every now and then you're just like, this is interesting. Like, the only reason that I read all of these... Because most people just, like... Hatred is a really toxic thing to expose yourself to. I think a fun phrase I heard once is that, like, holding a grudge is the only poison that hurts the holder of the container. Or something. That was a terrible thing. Basically... same with jealousy, right? Like, there's lots of negative emotions that you hold on to that actually just make yourself feel worse. Like, the person that you feel terrible about has no clue what you're going through, and you just have to feel terrible. Like, that's not smart. Pro tip, don't feel bad for the sake of feeling bad. It doesn't help anyone, it just hurts yourself a ton. A lot of people, their biggest problem can be attributed to, like, oh yeah, they have extreme jealousy, and so instead of, like, helping themselves, they try to bring down other people. And again, so many of these things are like that. So I always try to understand, like, because what if one day someone is right, that, like, there is a group of people that are objectively hateful. I always want to name examples of this that, like, sometimes you find consensus amongst the group of, like, oh yeah, well, we're all really great people, but also those people, if you're from the UK, there's a certain type, maybe you can... Actually, wait, this sounds like it's going to be a weird underpinning. Ignore what I said there. I didn't say anything. But, like, sometimes you find where, like, people just all collectively agree on it, and they're like, yep, that's the thing. And it used to be, like, a super niche, weird reaction when you find that. But online, people find these communities where they can find their specific hatred or whatever. And I find that interesting. You know what else I find interesting? This boat is surprisingly hard to build. Like, I'm going to need some end blocks as well. That's going to be a whole nightmare. Oh, it's not actually going to be a nightmare. I think we only need, like, 30 of them. We'll just take a whole stack anyway. Every time I take one stack of purple thinking it'll be enough, I've been wrong. So let's just grab enough, shall we? Oh god, look at this, by the way. This is a baby husk riding a spider. See, this is why I play Bedrock. You might say, Toycat, why'd you play the inferior version of Minecraft? Do you ever have a baby husk on a spider chase you through a end city biome? I bet you don't, because you're not playing my world, which you can play on Bedrock, by the way. Available now for just whatever number of Minecoins it is. It was set to the Let's Play world was set for a reduced price for the first week, but because one person in the Minecraft team left, in the marketplace team left, and Microsoft literally didn't know how to release maps without them, or updates for maps at least. And so the update to my Let's Play took so long, like a month. And by that time I was like, I couldn't change the price while the update was submitted, because again, the architecture is kind of questionable. And so by the time they got back, I was like, I guess this is just the price now. And so fun fact, Let's Play World, still available at a discounted price, only on the marketplace. Yeah, look at that. This whole series is just a subtle a collection of ads for a marketplace map. Yeah, I've become... Well, how do you feel about that, internet? You thought I was saying real words. I was just saying whatever it would take to get you to buy the marketplace map. Do you know? I actually have this very real story that definitely happened. So I met a fan while I was in New Jersey, and he came up to me and he said, "Oh my god, I had childhood leukemia, but then I bought your Let's Play world, and now I don't, and that's something I'm thankful to you for." That was real. He said it that way. He was only 4 years old, but the only thing that could cure him was in fact the Let's Play. And that's a real story. You might say, Toycat, did you just make that up on the spot? And oh no, yeah, you can just say anything you want now. Those are the rules. That's how conversation works. You might think, wait, let's not be so ridiculous. No, I am going to be so ridiculous. Thank you very much. So this is where I think there's like a brewing stand that goes here. Do I want a brewing stand, or can we just... Honestly, I kind of just want the outside to look okay, but then I always know I abandon it, so let's make sure it works. The window is actually 2 blocks wide, not 1 block wide. You know what? Why do these ships even need windows? Where I'm going, windows are entirely optional. But yeah, I don't know. I should we just preface everything with a fake story now? Is that just okay? It's interesting, right? Because advertising has this almost all advertising regulations around the world have some form of like limitation on what you can say to sell your product. Like obviously, if I'm trying to tell you that like, hey, do you know you can buy an IBX Toy Cat T-shirt that's Christmas themed, but it's only available in months that aren't December? Did you? I can tell you that, and that's me trying to sell my product. Probably, right? I'd argue that's just a description. If I say it's the best T-shirt around, is that me trying to sell my product? Well, it's what I believe, but also when you hear that, you're slightly more likely to want to buy it than if you hadn't heard that, right? I hope so, at least. Why don't you want to buy the best T-shirt around? I met a child while I was in New Jersey who said, this T-shirt is the best thing around, and I had childhood leukemia, and now I don't. Thanks, Toy Cat. And I guess I should come up with a more realistic problem. Wait, give me a second. Oh yeah, have you been feeling sad? Did you know a T-shirt that has IBX Toy Cat's face, but in a vaguely Christmas-like logo that coincidentally is only available in non-Christmas months? Wow, that includes May. What a fun coincidence. You know, that's saying something, you know, again, you all know it's fake and therefore you can't trust anything else I say, I hope. But like you get the point that like there is I hope that you get the point that there is like kind of there's a limit on what you can say for advertising purposes, right? It's a valid thing. But where does the line between like passionately advertising something and like, oh yeah, just this is, you know, where does that line come and stop and whatever, right? It's maybe hard to define in a lot of cases. I think it's very hard to know for sure when like passion stops and something else begins, especially when it comes to like celebrity things, right? People on the internet. How do you know when someone really believes something and when it's just something to make a sales pitch? And I don't know what my point of that was. Maybe my point was just you can't trust anyone because we're all salespeople for ourselves, right? We're all doing our best to convince you that we're worthwhile in some way, and that you should spend your time, maybe your money, maybe just something with us, right? Why are we not worth it? It's hard to say for sure that we are. I feel like sometimes, you know, like I go back and forth between like, should you be like a good salesman but for yourself, or should you downplay yourself? Should you be like, yeah, I exist. I haven't murdered a village full of orphans yet, and I probably won't even do it if traffic doesn't get too bad this weekend. You know, like how do you? What's the best way to do a person? Because you know, especially with the update stuff, something I've been meaning to do. Actually, you know, can I tell you something? If you watched me and Elraf's talk, it was a pretty good one. I feel like one of the things in there was we basically spoke about the update and stuff like that. And because one of the conclusions from that probably could have been like, oh yeah, you know, something balanced while talking about updates and the good stuff. Like I definitely want to. I feel like something, even when I am upset about something personally, I need to always be balanced and talk about like, well, it's, you know, here's the other side of that. You know, it's something I try to do in my general life. But something that like I've been wanting to do for a while is just like, let's talk about the good bits of 1.17. I feel like you know, the whole, oh yeah, it's super small. That's been talked about enough on YouTube. I want to kind of like I wanted to for a while talk about like, so what good things are there with any new Minecraft update? There's always going to be some good things, you know. It's we can argue about whether it's as many as it could have been or should have been, etc. And so I've wanted to for a while, like talk about my favorite bits of 1.17. What excites me about this next upcoming update? And it's funny because after I have a conversation with someone else where I conclude that, a lot of the times my instinct is like, especially because that conversation's been public, people will assume it's just because of that, and like that's a whole thing. Do I want that whole thing? Maybe I don't want that whole thing, and you know, I feel like that's a type of conflict most people don't have, and I wanted to share it with you all, just in case you do have it. And if you do have that, you know what resolves that conflict? I was actually speaking to a very successful adult in Philadelphia, where I was this weekend, and he was saying, yeah, I used to feel conflicted all the time until I got this great cat shirt that has Toy Cat's face, but in the shape of a Christmas cat. And then he told me, I didn't know this, it's 100% true. He said, did you know it's not available in the month of December? It's only available in the non-Christmas months because Toy Cat wears Christmas shirts when it's not Christmassy. And I said, wow, I didn't know that. Thank you for this great service that you're doing right now. Long story short is there's these great... Actually, honestly, that I like that there's so few of those shirts sold. I need to, like, if I'm promoting something, it needs to be something I actually, like, want people to buy, right? Like, I like that people have their hands on the Let's Play map a lot more than I like. Also, this can't be true. I think I've made a mistake here. I can't be sure of it, but I feel like this doesn't work as a concept. So I'll remove these blocks, and then also, I guess we'll place this going down there. Yeah, that seems correct enough. And then we also need to put some blocks in the basement. But, like, do we really need to put blocks down here? Or can we just leave it filled with water? I feel like water's a good repellent for mobs, if you really think about it, right? Also, we're going to need some stained glass for the windows. Or we can leave the windows empty. No stained glass where we're going. Oh, and also the big other thing is there's, like, there's this annoying thing. It starts here, and it goes, like, all the way up through there. Like, I need to look at something for this. Okay, you know, it's the weirdest Minecraft thing, but we're gonna do it today. So we take some of these purple pillar blocks, and we take one of this, and then we just kind of build a little tower. And that should hopefully give this should hopefully give the thing some of its distinctive shape. So we place that there. Then we place scaffolding over here. Pro tip, if you're building an end ship, which is a very common thing, then this is what you need to do. You need to use scaffolding to the best of your advantage. It's everywhere all the time, and you're not even taking advantage of it. I'm disappointed in you for that reason. So then that leads into two purple pillars, which leads into more purple stairs, which then leads into more scaffolding, which then leads into more purple stairs. And then eventually I think it, like, lines up with the front of this thing too. Why does this exist? Honestly, I guess almost every structure in Minecraft has this same problem of, like, why do this be here? But this is the one that weirds me out the most. Okay, so purple pillar, and then, okay, look at this. This is good as well. Purple pillar, and then a purple stairs. And then I think there's, like, a thing that goes here. For now, we'll just put, like, an upside down staircase. That works for me. And then we have to remove all of this, of course. Could do with getting all of that back. And boom, we're done. You know, being finished with something, it's a really good feeling. It's a good feeling that I get every time I get out of the shower and realize that, oh, I'm not out of t-shirts because I have my delightful IBX Toy Cat Christmas shirt. And if you like that feeling too, you can go to the marketplace and buy Toy Cat's Let's Play World, which is available right now for a permanently discounted price of just 490 Minecoins. What is that in real currency? Couldn't tell you because of Minecraft's microtransactions, but I bet it's not much. Also, this feels wrong. I don't know. I guess we actually do have to fill some of this in. Because I know that exists there, but I feel like this middle thing doesn't. And I feel like there's, like, an item frame, a leecher back there. You know, we don't need to think about that. We don't need to think about that. Oh, look, there's now cod growing naturally in my ship. That's nice. I like that a lot. Also, we have to find wherever the mast is. I think it's right there. And we have to dig that pillar all the way through the boat. Why is there a mast going through the entire boat? Oh, I cannot line this up. Oh, I can. That's a question I'm not going to give you the answer to. Although, given that, you know, these end pillar blocks are pretty, wouldn't it be fun to build a whole forest out of them? I'm just saying, why am I not doing that already? What am I doing building an end ship in my little end island place when I should be building an end forest? Man, my ideas are only good at the end of videos, it seems. Something that I've resolved. If you skip to the end of videos by downloading the Let's Play World, did you know it's available for the all-time disc? See, no, that something about marketing I find kind of, like, sad is, like, that, like, an element of deception is, like, expected in it, right? And I feel like that shouldn't always be the case. Can't we tell? Shouldn't things be able to sell by just being like, yeah, this is just how things be? Also, I think this is one block too high. Or maybe this block... Yeah, I've done one block too many of this the entire way. Oops. Let me just remove all of that. Because I think the staircase brings it down to that. And then this is meant to be... this right here is meant to be a obsidian block instead. But I don't have any obsidian. There's no easy access to obsidian anywhere nearby. So I guess we can't do that. And yeah, I guess now we just need a few last finishing touches. Yeah, I think I really am just missing a few decorative stair blocks and then some purple stained glass. I'm pretty sure it's purple stained glass. I'm like 99.99% sure. I'm so sure that I'm going to do it, and if it's wrong, I'm going to claim that I didn't know that it was wrong. I'm going to say it was just a prank, and then it's going to be funny, because that's how the internet works. Trust me, I live here sometimes. You know, actually, something I do have some thoughts about is like a phrase I like to use when I was like a teenager is like I basically did live on the internet, and that's a silly phrase, but it really is true that like if you are on the internet a lot, you know, it doesn't matter. You're going to be more influenced by the internet than by anyone in your country of choosing or country of not choosing. Does anyone really choose a country? Is that a bit too big of a debate to get into at the end of this Let's Play? I mean, so something that made me sad recently, and maybe it shouldn't. Maybe this should be a testament to how lovely the world is that something like I think it's 80-ish% of adults live within a 20-mile radius of where they grew up. And like it makes sense. Like, what's the most logical place to be? Where you already are, I guess, you know, like, but as someone who loves traveling partially, but also loves the I don't know. I feel like all of the opportunities in my life have come from places other than where I grew up. Like and you know, like when you're from a place that is a suburb where people take their wealth from there, you know, like there are places that are filled with opportunity, in my opinion, and there are places that are filled with that have less of it and therefore are cheaper, are better, are more spacious. Like people, you know, the inner city has the highest cost per land, so you live outside of it, but you work from inside of it until you don't have to anymore. But like the idea that like, oh yeah, I don't think about opportunity, I just kind of wing things, is something that makes me realize it's something that is a like really common attitude that like I also think about as like, that's like kind of sad though, right? And it's one of those like it's one of those beliefs I've had forever, but I heard someone say it this weekend. It was someone said something along the lines of like, oh yeah, the reason, like they were describing some super creepy behavior. I don't know, I don't want to tell you someone else's story, so I won't tell you someone else's story. I'm gonna leave that stairs there. I don't think it's meant to be there, but it looks pretty good there, right? Also, more drowns. But someone told me an opinion I actually agreed with. It was something along the lines of like, you know, at least I thought I did, till I heard someone else say it. That's like, oh yeah, that problem is because they're the sort of loser who never leaves their hometown, right? And although I think it's like much preferable to like leave, to get out, to enjoy the experiences, like, you know, to see someone be like, oh yeah, I am superior to you because I live in the greatest city in the world while you live in a sad small town. And something about it like grates me the wrong way, to the level where like I hate the belief itself. And it makes you, you know, because again, if you believe the same thing that people believe purely out of hatred, is it really a good belief? Or is your thing born out of hatred? You know, like, I don't know. There are certain subreddits that I frequent just for the, you know, the interest. And it seems as though even when someone's got a positive thing, someone immediately turns that into, and here's why, I don't know, insert thing here is the worst. And so yeah, I heard a belief I agreed with this week. And it made me go, do I really agree with it? And the answer is like kind of yes, but also that I don't want it to be. I don't think that I think there are just more prospects elsewhere. I don't think it has to be like, I don't think we have to drag people down all the time, you know? I feel like there's a lot of things already dragging people down, and you know, they can work out how and lift if they don't need to be lifted up. That's great, you know. That should be celebrated in some ways, you know. And if they are still working on it, then, you know, also great. I hope they one day do find the merch.ibxtoycat.com link. Wait, that's probably not it. the streamlabs.com/toycat, where they can buy what we all know is the cure to sadness in the Toycat Christmas shirt, only available in non-Christmas months. Actually, I legitimately did meet a subscriber recently who had one. Like, there's only like 5 of them in the world. Again, I do a very bad job at advertising things like that because I don't really care if people buy them. Or do I do a bad job? Was this whole video, do I actually sell hundreds of them and I'm trying to make it seem like it's a small indie thing? Is that subscriber I met in New York who actually was wearing the shirt, is that a lie? I guess you just have to wait and find out. Or you can take my word for it, I guess. Or you can do none of that and you can say, do you like my end ship? I feel like I'm missing something, but I can't tell you what. And so for now, I think I did a nice job here, right? Do you like it? Oh yes, something's missing. Something's definitely not missing. We'll leave that be. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the Let's Play. And if you didn't, then stop watching them. This is like an hour of your life you're giving up every week. And if you're not enjoying them, then maybe you shouldn't be watching them. Or thank you for watching anyway, and I hope that I see you all next week, and that I don't die while swimming down a river. So, goodbye.